The rest of the world looks at what's happening and says Iran is an heroic state because it's standing up to the great bully, the United States and Israel. So virtually everyone is sympathetic, and everyone who can help the Iranians is doing so. And so the Iranians have prepared themselves brilliantly for this next phase, which is now coming. And I think it'll probably start within the next 48 hours.
Wow.
And why will it start? Because you cannot keep all these soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines out there indefinitely. They'll lose their edge. They'll wear out. You can't do that. You've got to send them into action, or you have to disengage and withdraw. And I see no evidence that we're prepared to do that. And this whole blockade thing was a farce. It never had any chance of success. We're sitting, 300 miles, 400 miles, 500 miles south and away from the entrance to the Persian Gulf. We have, comparatively speaking, a handful of ships. We're trying to fly over the area and control it. It can't be done. I mean, you can control some of it, but not all of it. And then this notion that we're telling captains of these tankers that are not insured by Lloyd's of London or anybody else at this point to risk transit, go through the Gulf, and then hug the shore next to Oman and risk going aground because that's a very shallow area was always crazy. This is the final point, and it's the point that Americans really need to understand, and most Americans are not paying attention to. There is no strategy. There never was. There never was. First, we start off, well, we're going to bomb in support of an uprising. That was always nonsense. They said that the Iranians killed 30,000 of their own people. That is nonsense. About 3,400 people died. And of that number, 400 were policemen. Why were they killed in a nation where no one is armed? Because the Mossad and the CIA went in there and distributed arms to members of the resistance, if you want to call them that, in the crowd, and directed them to shoot. And they killed police officers. At that point, you had to go in and put down this minor, relatively speaking, minor uprising. I say minor because they painted the picture that there were millions of people in the country ready to overthrow the government violently. And that was not true. It was never true. Then we decided, oh no, we'll bomb to decapitate. We'll kill all the key leaders, because the Israelis said, well, if you kill all the key leaders, they'll fall apart. Why would they say that? Because the Israelis have experienced that previously in many Arab states. Chaos breaks out, there's no one to step in and take over, and so forth. That was false, because Iran is not an Arab state. Iran is a real country. It's a real nation state. It's been around for 2,000 years.